I'm Mr. Moore, aka Mr. Moore Taught Me. I've been teaching for 10 years. I taught in Baltimore, Brooklyn, and now Atlanta. And I decided I want to get some classroom management skills. Out of the 10 years of me working, I feel like that's been my strongest suit since I first began teaching in Baltimore and still on to teaching now. So the first thing we're going to start with, circulating the classroom. So circulating the classroom is very important. When I say circulating the classroom, I mean you are walking around the whole entire time that you are teaching, from class beginning to the class ending. Obviously, at certain points, you can maybe sit down during independent work. If the kids are reading, the kids are watching the video or something, yes, those would be the times where you can sit down. I mean, I would still circulate the classroom, but, again, everybody doesn't want to stand for an entire class period. While you're teaching is a good time, especially to walk around, because that's usually when the behaviors start. So let's say you are explaining something, you're reading something, you're giving notes. Those are the times where you want to walk around the classroom and just make sure everybody is focused and paying attention. That also alleviates a lot of those small behaviors that can disrupt the classroom. Kids talking, maybe kids on their phone, kids not paying attention, or kids not staying focused, kids making eye contact, kids eating, kids calling out. You walking around can kind of decrease the amount of distractions that would happen in the classroom during that time. If the kids do have respect for you, when you get near them, they will stop whatever they're doing and pay attention to you. So you want to circulate. And if let's say you're doing notes, you want to get those little remotes that can change your slides for you while you're walking around. Or if you're doing something on your computer, you just want to carry your mouse around and then use the mouse on the computer so that you can still walk around the classroom while you're teaching. Because that close proximity changes a lot of things with your students. If there's students talking, instead of you stopping your lesson and telling them to be quiet or trying to reprimand them anyway, you can just go stand next to them while you're teaching. For the most part, I want to say 90% of the time, especially the kids, like I said, if the kids have respect for you, they're going to stop talking while you're near them. If a kid is not paying attention, or you can tell a kid is not focused, you can go closer to them, maybe tap their desk, or even just standing next to them. That will get kids to look up and pay attention, catch eye contact. Again, this helps you decrease a lot of behaviors because kids will be less likely to try anything while they see you walking around. So if I want to try to get on my phone, yes, they might get maybe 10 seconds or 30 seconds on their phone or something. But if you're still circulating the classroom, they're gonna have to keep putting it away. Versus if you were just standing in front of the classroom or sitting at your desk, they would just be on their phone nonstop. Also, when it does become a situation where you do have to say something directly to them, when you're closer to them, they respond better versus you being in front of the classroom or you being at your desk screaming across the classroom. You can also say things at a lower tone so that it doesn't catch the attention of the whole class. So those are moments where maybe the kids are copying notes or maybe the kids are doing independent work. You could, say whatever you have to say to a child in a lower tone, and then that child's also less likely to respond in a disrespectful way because all eyes aren't on them. So all the attention isn't on them. So there's no reason for them to make a scene about anything you might have told them. Versus if you're in front of the classroom and you tell the kid, put your phone away or stop talking, that's when, at this point they're embarrassed, they feel challenged, they feel like all eyes are on them. So they take that chance and now you in a back and forth. Now you're in a power struggle with them. Versus if you're right near them, you might lean down real quick. Hey, can you get to work? Hey, put your phone away, stop eating, stop talking while I'm talking, pay attention, things like that. Kids respond a lot better when they're not embarrassed. What you call that when you're standing next to kids, that's close proximity. So you want to stay in close proximity of those students who are distracting others. Because like I said, if you're near them, more than likely they'll stop. And you seating charts, change their seats. Like, stop. If you know these two kids or this group keeps talking, change their seats. I would say sometimes, a lot of the time, it's one child. Like, a lot of the time, it's one kid that's the one distracting everybody. Move them. And if that next seat doesn't work, move them again. If that next seat doesn't work, move them again until you might have to move them by themselves. Do not be afraid to isolate a kid by themselves. As long as you don't have them in the back facing the wall, that's when it's a problem. But if you just put them, directly in the front of the classroom or near the board, or if your classroom is not super big, where putting them in the back will be noticeable, meaning you had them all in the back of the classroom to the point where they can barely hear you. But if your classroom is, of a smaller size, put them in the back of the classroom. Put them in the back. Put them on the side, but put them by themselves so that they're not distracting others. Now, if it's a group, split them apart. Keep moving them. Keep moving those kids until it works for you. Because a lot of times that's all it is, just where they're sitting. You're going to run into the kid that will talk to a wall. Every year there's going to be a kid that no matter where you put them, you could put them in a corner, they're going to talk to a roach. Like there's just certain kids that they're going to talk. But for the most part, most kids are talking because they're next to their friends or they're next to somebody that they're cool with. You can usually get that under control. There's always going to be the one kid that no matter where you put them, they're going to talk. We're not talking about that kid. And then again, you can still do something with that kid. Again, you can still isolate them, or you can put them next to the kid that doesn't get distracted easily. So they're still going to get their work done, even though the other talker is going to continue talking to them. They're still able to get their work done while possibly getting distracted. Use your seating charts. Change seats, even if you got to change it every day until you figure out what works best for you, and change your classroom around. So maybe the way your classroom is set up just isn't working. Try a U, try rows, try groups, try everything. Keep trying different things. Don't just sit with the same seating chart, and don't ever, and that gets to another part, negotiating. We don't negotiate. Do not negotiate with kids. Whatever your decision is, that is your decision. So, and a lot of times when it comes to changing seats, kids feel like they don't need to sit there or they don't want to sit there. That's not their choice. You tell them to go sit somewhere else, that's where they're sitting. That's it. There's no negotiating. Do not let them convince you that they can't sit somewhere. You tell them where they need to sit, and that's the end of it. Me, I'll just tell you what I do. Kids be like, oh, I'm not sitting there. All right, you either sitting there or you're not, or you can leave. That's always my thing. Sit there or leave. I never had a kid actually leave, but if a kid did leave, as soon as they're gonna have to come back. Somebody's gonna go with them, and then they're gonna come back, and then what? They're gonna have to sit in that seat. So please do not negotiate when it comes to your seating charts. If you feel like a kid is best seated in a certain place, put them in. They need to be in that seat, and that's the end of it. Unless it's like a real issue that they have with a certain kid, that's something that they need to tell you at the end of class. That's not something that needs to get handled right then and there. That's gonna disrupt the whole class. So please, please, please do not negotiate. Change those seats. If they don't like the seats, then they don't need to come in the classroom. And that's how your attitude has to be, or they're gonna keep on sitting wherever they want and doing whatever they want. And then there's a lot of times where, and yes, it happens to everybody, no matter how strong your management is. Kids will just change their own seat. Like a kid will just come in one day and decide they want to sit somewhere else. No. Wherever you put them, that's where they're going. Don't let them convince you of anything. Nothing that could have happened that made them switch their own seat. That's what they need to understand. Even if it's like, the kid next to them stinks, the kid next to them bully, blah, blah. They need to understand that they have to come to you first before they decide to change their seat. So you make sure they go back to that seat. Then y'all can have a conversation from there. Like if it's something serious. Most of the time it's not something serious. Most of the time they're just trying to see what they can get away with, see if they can just sit wherever they want. You have to make sure that that's not happening. Because you let that one kid sit wherever he wants, then I promise you, the rest of the kids are going to start doing the same thing. And then every time you tell them, well, you can't do that, you can't change your seat, all they're going to do is keep bringing up the time when so-and-so changed his seat and you didn't do nothing about it. And there should be no negotiating on anything, whatever. That's what messes up a lot of teachers also. Whatever you said was the procedure, that's it. That's the procedure. So there's no, if you said there's no bathroom the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of class, there's no bathroom the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes of class. Because again, like I said previously about the kid changing his seat, if you let the one kid go during that first 10 minutes, unless it's an emergency, I'm not talking about emergency, I'm just talking about a kid that just asks to go to the bathroom, you just let them go. They're going to remember that, and then every other kid is going to keep trying. Oh, you let so-and-so go to the bathroom, why can't I go? So unless it's an emergency, a clear emergency, like they dancing in their seat, or, they said the last teacher didn't let me go, I got to go. You can tell as a teacher, as an adult, you can tell when a kid really has to go versus when they just trying to get over on you. So use your discretion. But if it's no bathroom first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes, or last 10 to last 15, there's no bathroom. There's no, other than emergency, there's no reason why they need to go. And again, use your own discretion so that when kids do say, oh, well, so-and-so had to go, you can respond. Because you could really just not respond. They're kids, you're an adult, blah, blah, but you can respond and let them know, no, he went because it was an emergency. Which, again, that will get other kids to start saying it's an emergency. But again, use your discretion. You can tell when kids are lying and when kids really have to go to the bathroom. You can tell. if you've been teaching for a while. I don't know about the first year teachers, but if you've been teaching for a while, you can tell when a kid really has to go to the bathroom. But don't negotiate for anything, whatever. Like, again, those are just two examples. The seating chart, the bathroom, those are two examples of do not negotiate. Whatever you said it is, that's what it is. And if you decide to change it on your own, maybe tomorrow or whatever, that's on you. But do not do it on the spot because the kid is asking you or trying to negotiate. No. The answer is no. You also need to learn how to just say no directly. You don't got to give kids a reason. No. That's it. That's actually another thing I can add for classroom management. Just say, the answer is no. Just say no. You do not have to explain yourself for a lot of things, especially if it's something that you already said they couldn't do. So if you're teaching and the kid asks to go to the bathroom, no. If they say why, keep on teaching. You don't have to respond. Kid asks to change their seat, no. You do not have to respond. Now there are certain situations where an explanation might be needed, but for the most part, if it's something procedural that you already told them about, you already went through, no, the answer is no. Because they should know the reason why they can't go to the bathroom. They should know the reason why they can't change their seat on their own. They should know the reason why they can't get up and walk to the garbage while you're teaching. So these are things that they should know. So those are times when you need to just say no and keep on moving on with your lesson. Do not stop your lesson to explain anything to a kid that you already taught and repeated to them. And if you watch this whole video straight through, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you have any other classroom strategies you think I didn't touch upon yet, please put that in the comments. If you have any questions or concerns or comments about what I said, please leave that in the comments, or anything teaching-wise that you feel like I should probably talk about, leave that in the comments. Thank you.